So I thought I'd talk today about the concept of alignment, of unity, and of individuation. Um, and it's a vague concept, but I'll do my best to kind of piece it together and use kind of practical examples to explain what I mean by these concepts. Um, but in alignment, what does that initially mean? I mean, to me, it means being in alignment with and integrating the various motivational states that a person has. Now, there's going to be various motivational states that you experience and that kind of play off one another, whether that's like the motivational state of anger or meaning, mastery, ambition, security, um, exploration, curiosity, uh, uh, pain, fear, um, these different emotional states that can serve as motivations for acting. Um, and I feel like an important question to ask is how can you use these different motivational states to help align not only your interests but the interests of those around you, not only today and like at this particular moment in time, but across the longest uh, horizon possible, um, and finding ways of how you can kind of uh, manage what I guess you might typically consider your more short-term immediate needs with what you might consider your longer-term needs. So like I take the example of nutrition and diet, for instance. Um, and who doesn't want to eat good tasting foods, for instance? Um, and I feel like a lot of the resistance a person initially feels, who's trying to get their diet in order, let's say, um, is that they have to eat a lot of foods that they don't like. And I don't necessarily think eating a nutritious diet consists of you choosing foods that you don't like, but it's about choosing healthy foods that you like, um, and also possessing the willingness to being open to choosing healthier alternatives when options present themselves to you. Um, because I think it's possible for a person to have and like, I mean, so many people do it, obviously. I mean, it's possible for a person to have a great healthy diet that tastes incredible. You just have to be willing to explore and find the foods that work for you. And the same thing kind of goes in with like getting active and staying fit and looking good physically. I mean, it's going to be exceptionally hard for a person to stick to something that they don't like doing. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like lifting weights, as an example, it's going to be very hard for you to find the motivation for you to get up and go to the gym. But lifting weights is not the only way that you can get fit or that you can look good. There's so many different ways that you can get out and be active, um, whether that's swimming, rock climbing, jujitsu. It could be cycling, running, whatever it might be, like tennis, pickleball, basketball, whatever it might be. Um, there are these various opportunities that present themselves to you, and it's, again, I guess it goes back to possessing that willingness to explore what interests you and what you actually enjoy doing, because there's not necessarily one direct route to how you can accomplish a goal that you can set for yourself. And I was thinking about like how this concept relates to other questions like the desire to uh, make money and how that interplays with how a person establishes their career, or in terms of the desire for physical connection and love. I felt like I was in a pretty good flow state there with what I was talking, but I got a phone call and it kind of interrupted the flow state, let's say. But anyways, I was somewhere along the lines of, when it comes to making money, when it comes to earning a living and pursuing a career, questions to ask might be something along the lines of like, how can you provide a genuinely valuable service to others in a manner that, or where honesty is being created and fostered with your customers and the people you work with, and it kind of like tying into the other element, which was like love and physical connection. It's like, I don't know, at least the question that I ask myself is like, okay, like, you desire these certain things, are you able to do it within the confines of a long-term vision? If it's with relationships, how can you do that in a long-term relationship? How can you satisfy those important needs for yourself? And it's at like this point that I feel like a lot of these questions come back to the idea of really coming to understand your why it's important to you. And I feel like it's incredibly interesting to see how the different motivational states play into one another and influence the decisions you make concerning your life, and how it kind of goes into the conceptualization of the why that you for yourself. And like, it's really interesting to see how at certain times, like these different motivational states can take precedence over one or another, and to see just how all these different factors just merge into a person either finally going ahead and taking action or choosing inaction, for instance. So it's like questions. It's like, okay, how does the motivational state of love intermingle with the motivational desire for sex, or how the desire for love plays into your motivation to find some sense of meaning or even power for that instance, or like how the desire to pursue mastery ties into a person's search for meaning or purpose, or even transcendence, or like another example would be how power, justice, sacrifice, the desire for self-preservation tie in and play into one another. And I feel like there's so many different connections that can be made between these various motivational states. And I suppose that's where it kind of ties back into the concept of individuation, which was a concept that was developed by Jung, and what it is it's the process by which a person kind of psychologically integrates these various personality dimensions into like a unity or a whole, by kind of recognizing his or her uniqueness. And I found that just when you go and consider all the different elements of what makes a person unique, it's like, it really just makes you marvel to consider that, like, for instance, each one of us will have our unique set of goals. We'll have our unique personality makeup. We'll have our unique set of talents and strengths, and we'll also have our unique set of attendant flaws or weaknesses, as you might call them. And we also possess throughout our lives our own unique set of experiences and a unique set of relationships, and how we perceive and interpret these different things with these different people and through these different experiences, and how these different factors and experiences in motivational states will kind of, like I said, intermingle, and how they will all take precedence or kind of yield back from the spotlight at particular times. So it's just, for me, when you consider all these different factors and how it influences what a person decides to do or doesn't decide to do, or um, how it influences what they choose to pursue or the vision that they set for themselves, it's like you can almost kind of, or at least I viewed it as like, there's all these various puzzle pieces, and what a person does is attempt to connect and find the right fitting puzzle pieces to create the image, um, or a vision, let's say. And it's just interesting to see how, as more and more pieces of the puzzle are added, how that initial image, or like I said, vision, changes and shifts along the way, when more and more things, when more and more elements are taken into consideration. And then I asked myself the question, it's like, okay, why is it important for a person to integrate and be willing to do what it takes to integrate these different motivational states? And again, I think it comes like, individuation is the process of becoming one. It's the process of becoming whole. And integration, by definition, is to make whole. And like, let's say, for instance, the vision that you've set for yourself is to attempt to work for what you've come to know as the highest good, or let's say, with to align yourself with what's highest, that being walking with God, let's say. By definition, there can only be one highest good, because there can't be anything higher than what's highest. So if you haven't worked towards the process of individuation, of alignment, of unity, you're going to be fragmented. So you're going to be, by these different motivational states, they'll be conflicting, pulling you here and there. And then by definition, if you are pulled this way and that way, you can't align yourself with that one thing that's highest, if that all makes sense. I feel like there are times when I'm talking or speaking here where it can get difficult to follow, and if I feel like part and parcel of that is just my lack of clarity, I guess you could say, in terms of being able to present the material in the most clear, concise way. But I'm doing my best. So where it kind of led me was asking the question, or like to consider that the person who works to have that sense of unity, to have that sense of integration, it's as if the world opens itself up to the person who's willing to make the sacrifices to attend to their calling, and to attend to their vision of what that highest good is. And I feel like if you can get yourself aligned towards one point, the chance that goal, that vision that you've set for yourself makes itself manifest, or that you turn yourself into the kind of person who could achieve that goal that they've set for themselves, makes it all the more likely for that goal or for that vision to make itself manifest, like I said. And like the world opening up, what does that mean? I mean, it means opportunity. It means adventure. It means that you might not know where you'll find yourself once you've worked towards this integration. And when I say like once you've got in there, I don't necessarily know if it's possible, so much so as it's an ideal to strive towards, but you don't know where that opening will lead. But it kind of rests upon your shoulders to be that brave explorer, and to work towards these lofty goals and ideals that you set for yourself, because you don't know just what lies in potential until you're willing to be the kind of person who goes ahead and pursues it. And I genuinely feel like you live the adventure of your life by aligning your entire being with what's highest, and in sharing that journey with people who you can trust and who you can form meaningful connections with. So I feel like that's just about all I had to say about this, and I will see you in the next one.